In this video, we're going to talk about whether or not you should even go to law school. For those of you who are new, my name is Sydney Montgomery, and I'm a law school admission consultant specializing in working with first-generation and minority applicants. To tackle this question, should you go to law school? The answer is yes, if three things are true. In the past year, we have had the most competitive application cycle in ABA history. Last year, in the 2020 to 2021 application cycle, applications were up over 30%. This coming application cycle, 2021 to 2022, is looking to be just as, if not more, competitive than the last cycle. There are a record number of students who are reapplying or deferring. What is that going to look like in 3 to 4 years when we look at the job market? There have been talks that the job market for lawyers could again see the same kind of oversaturation that they saw in 2008 when the Great Recession hit, and suddenly going to law school and graduating from law school did not mean you had a guaranteed job. Suddenly we had tons of lawyers who were unemployed because of the oversaturation of the job market. I'm not saying that's definitely what's going to happen 3 to 4 years from now, but it should be part of your decision-making process when you are trying to figure out if you should go to law school. So the answer is yes, you should go to law school. Law school is worth it if these three things are true. 1, you choose a law school where you're going to have a high return on investment, and we'll talk about what that means. 2, you have intentionality behind your decision to go to law school. And 3, you have already done some self-assessment and you know that you are academically prepared to succeed in law school. So let's break that down. That first point, 1, is that you want to go to a law school where you are going to have a great return on investment. And how do you figure that out? Well, there's a lot of ways that you can actually figure out and find the bar passage rate, the employment rate, the median salary of these law schools. One really great place to find that is on Law School Transparency. There you can really compare schools, like literally put them side by side and look at the different facts and figures for each school, see what kinds of jobs they send their students to, what percent go to big law, what percent go to clerkships, what states do they send their attorneys to when they graduate, and how employable they are. This is important because you do not want to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars at a school that doesn't have a good employment score or bar passage rate. Now, if you are a top student and you know that you can excel no matter what, you might feel more comfortable taking a little bit of risk there. But in general, you want to go to a school that's going to be a good investment. The other thing when we talk about investments is we have to talk about loans, borrowing, and debt. You do not want to borrow so much more than what that starting salary is. It does not make sense for you to go $200,000 in debt for a school that has a median salary of $55,000. No, there's nothing wrong with a median salary of $55,000 if you don't have a substantial amount of student loans. But if you take on that kind of debt and then go to a school that's not going to be able to provide you with a job or the financial security to manage that debt, then you are not setting yourself up for long-term success. Now, instead of breaking generational curses of poverty and debt, you are just further entrenching yourself in the cycle. And that's not what I want to see for you. So when you're thinking about how much money you want to borrow for certain schools, I want you to really be looking at the employment rate and the bar passage rate and that median salary. You want to see, okay, this school, on average, students make $180,000. I feel comfortable borrowing $75,000. Perhaps. You also have to look at your own personal finances and see what other debt and assets you're coming into the equation with. Law school is a great decision if you are fiscally smart. If you are thinking through and making long-term decisions and not basing long-term decisions off of short-term emotions of I'll just go to any law school I get into, because that is not going to set you up for success. And if you go in with that mindset, the answer might be no, you should not go to law school. Now, the second point is that you should have intentionality behind your desire to go to law school. Why do you want to go to law school? This is something that I work really diligently with my students on, finding their why law, finding the area of law that they want to affect change in, the place where they want to be a change agent, where they want to make impact, the laws that they want to overturn, or the people that they want to serve, or the people that they want to represent and protect and advocate for. You have to know why you're going to law school, and it's not enough to say, I want to be a voice for the voiceless, or to help marginalized communities, or to provide justice for all. That's just not going to cut it. Why? Because it's not specific enough. How do you want to be a voice for the voiceless? Do you need to go to law school? You could go to business school. You could go to education school. You can go to public health. How do you want to combat systemic racism? How do you want to impact your community? To work on behalf of marginalized communities is great, but you could do that through criminal justice reform, or you could do that through family law and domestic violence, or you could do that through housing. And those are also very different. If you go into law school without a plan, you are more likely to end up not maximizing the resources that you have at the school, and you are more likely to come out not really getting the practical hands-on experience and tools that you need to get that job or to be as effective in your career as you had hoped. So I encourage all my students, and I'm encouraging you, to take the time to really investigate why you want to go to law school. It is a 3-year commitment, 4 years if you're going to do part-time, and lots of money. But even if you get a full ride, isn't it worth taking a few hours or a week or 2 weeks to really think about why you want to go to law school? Why are you putting yourself through this process? Why are you going to stay at a school for 3 years and learn the law? Why are you doing this? Sometimes I think we're afraid. We're afraid to ask ourselves these questions because we're afraid of the answers. But I think that there's power in knowing the answers. I think that there's power in feeling confident and having clarity of your goals. And if you can have clarity in your goals, then this question of should I go to law school is a no-brainer. Because you need to get to the place where you know that law school is the only thing that makes sense. That law school is the next logical step on your career journey, on your path. You cannot do what you want to do without going to law school. So when someone asks you, should you go to law school? It's like, duh, I have to go to law school. I have no choice but to go to law school. That's how you should feel. And if you don't feel that way, then maybe the answer is no. And last, that third piece is that you need to critically examine your academic readiness for law school. And again, this goes back to the whole questions and feelings about whether people are ready to really ask themselves the hard questions. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to figure out what your weaknesses are, or maybe you're not strengths if you don't want to call them weaknesses. It's uncomfortable to have those conversations with yourself. And I'm not asking you to have these conversations with yourself to demoralize you or to make you doubt whether or not you can do it. But I feel like if we don't look at a problem, we can never find the solution. If you don't call, claim, and accept where your weaknesses are, they can never grow into strengths. So, what is your academic readiness level? Law school involves a lot of research, writing, critical thinking, reading. Do you like to read? There's a lot of reading. Do you like to write? You have to be able to communicate effectively in legal writing. You don't necessarily have to be a public speaker. There are so many different kinds of law, and not all of them involve public speaking or debate, litigation, trial attorneys. But the core crux of being a lawyer is being able to read, research, and write. And listen, if they're not your strengths, that's okay, as long as you are committed to doing the work to make them better. Are you committed to learning grammar? It's not sexy, I know. But are you? Are you committed to learning how to research? Are you committed to learning how to really do the deep dive analysis that is necessary to be a lawyer? Because if you're not, then law school is not going to be very easy for you. I believe that if you want this bad enough, you can grow in those skills. They're skills. You can be taught, you can learn, you can develop them. But you have to understand that they're important and integral to your career as a lawyer. So you need to have at least a passion and a desire to get better at them. But if you have all of these things, if you're choosing a law school that is going to be a good return on investment, if you have intentionality and you have defined and figured out what your why law is, and if you have examined yourself and you either feel like you are academically prepared or you've committed yourself to becoming academically ready, then law school absolutely might be the best move for you. I hope this video was helpful. So tell me below in the comments, where are you in your journey? Are you just starting to think about law school? Are you in the middle of the application process? Are you at the end and getting ready to go to law school in the fall? I would love to help you and be part of your journey, or just say hi and introduce myself. So let me know below in the comments so that I can extend a warm welcome to you. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to this channel. Share this video with a friend or two that might need some encouragement or might be wrestling with this decision. And I will see you guys very soon.